Manchester United really want to sign Antoine Semenyo? No, really. If you'd asked any United fan a few weeks ago whether it was likely or possible to sign Semenyo, most of us would have said no. But here we are. What's happening? Let me bring you fully up to date on Semenyo and ask some important questions around choices, prices, and Semenyo's desires. Let's get into it. Anybody predict that we would be in for Semenyo? I didn't. I'll be totally honest. But here we are, because United definitely want to sign him. I'm going to run through all the latest, bring you bang up to date. And I'm going to pose a question in this video. Why would Semenyo choose United? And why would Semenyo choose City? The two clubs who want him. I asked you in the live show, and I pulled them up. I just want to have a conversation about it now. Because, yeah, we are banging for Semenyo. It would be a great signing in January. It would be exactly what we need, and I've already spoken about that. But before I properly get into it, I want to say a big shout out to Legend London. You can see I'm still wearing it. That's the overshirt. It's the t-shirt as well. They're having their Christmas sale up to 60% off site-wide. You can get some cracking jeans. You can get some t-shirts, some overshirts. Look, we've been working with Legend London now for a good few months. Actually, longer than that. I really do vouch for the quality of their products. So if you want to get involved in the Boxing Day sales, you can follow the link in the description. You can go over there, get involved. I guarantee you'll be happy you bought some. I think the conversation around Semenyo really kind of came about because this release clause. We found out about it in, 17th of November. It was only a week later that Sky Sports published this, right? Do you see the United badge there? I don't, because we weren't linked with him. Now, Amram, ahead of the Bournemouth game between Bournemouth and United, hailed Semenyo as a special player. Now that you see everything that's happened since, did he know something that we didn't? Yeah, I think he did. Unless United's interest in Semenyo has all of a sudden happened because he scored a goal against us at Old Trafford, which seems unlikely. But this is the latest from Fabrizio Romano on exactly what's going on between United, Semenyo, and City.
Man United against Manchester City. This is the situation of today. Manchester battle. Because also today contacts took place between Semenyo's camp, Man United and Man City. The two clubs are pushing, presenting their projects, presenting their technical view, presenting their financial opportunities for the player. So Man United and Man City are battling for Antoine Semenyo.
So at this moment in time, Liverpool aren't in it. Now, it's not to say that Liverpool can't come in because they absolutely can. But at this moment in time, it's between United and City. I'll be honest, I don't know whether I'm being ignorant or anything, but I'm looking at City's squad. I'm looking at United's squad. It really does feel like both clubs are reacting to this as a market opportunity rather than an exact player that they need inside their squad. No, it's kind of the way I look at it. An important date to remember or to know here with this whole Semenyo situation. This is from Nizar Cancella for the BBC. Is this date of the 10th of January. Okay? Because about the release clause, he signed that new contract and part of that included the release clause to leave for 65 mil before the 10th of January, a date chosen by Bournemouth to give them time to find a replacement. And that figure reduces, he says 60 mil in the summer of 2026. I thought it was 50 mil in the summer of 2026. But that's why all these conversations are happening really quite quickly with United, with Semenyo and with City. That 10th of Jan deadline. Now, what United ultimately want to happen is this, like a carbon copy of the Mbumo situation. Presenting the project, explaining everything, Semenyo choosing United over City. In the same way that Mbumo was presented the project, early doors, he chose United over any interest from Arsenal or Spurs or Newcastle. And that gave United sort of a clear path towards signing Mbumo. Obviously, it took a while to agree on and negotiate on the fee. A little bit different in the Semenyo's release clause, but there could be negotiations, and this is part of it as well. Going here, a separate report suggesting that if United are given the thumbs up, if United find out from Semenyo that he wants to join, then the conversation will switch towards the release clause and how the release clause is paid. Because two precedents here that we should think about. Number one was Joshua Zirkzee. Man United signed him for slightly above the release clause that he had with Bologna, because it allowed United to change the terms of how to pay that release clause. More favourable. Spread the cost over a longer period of time. You know what it is. What's it called? I've completely forgotten. What's that bloody word now? I've completely forgotten. Oh, that's quite funny. I've forgotten. Anyway, you spread it over 5 years or so instead of 2 years. It's accounting purposes so you don't spend as much money at once. Now, we tried the same thing with Cunha. That's what I mean about precedent. One which worked and one which didn't work. It worked with Xerxes. We tried it with Wolves. Wolves said no. You can see down there at the bottom. Cunha has a release clause worth 62.5 mil, which United have asked to pay over 5 years rather than the required 2, but Wolves expect the contractual requirements to be met. I said, are we paying it over 2? I thought we were paying it over 3. Anyway, I think it was 1 part up front and then 2 more. Bologna said yes with Xerxes. Wolves said no with Cunha. United are going to try the same thing with Semenyo and Bournemouth if he says yes. And this is the question. This is kind of the crux of this video. I've honestly taken my red-tinted specs off here. And I've tried to list out reasons why he would choose United and reasons why he would choose City. Here's what I came up with, right? Number 1, prestige. Like, it doesn't matter what City do. It doesn't matter what they win. It doesn't matter what Guardiola does. They will not be United. They will never be United. They will never have the prestige of United. That does count for a lot, even if you don't think it does. Is he a fan of United? Don't know that one. Does he have belief in the project? Omar Brada and Jason Wilcox have been able to convince some very good players like Cunha and Bumo and Šeško about the project of United, about what's coming up. They've got belief in it. Can do the same with Semenyo. Belief in Ruben Amorim. If he does choose United, he has to believe in Ruben Amorim. Right? I've got the examples there of Cunha and Bumo. More chance to play minutes at United, most probably, given the squad quality. But more minutes in the position that he wants to. Questionable. I'll move on to that next. Top 3 club in the world, that's United. Old Trafford. Etihad can't compete with that. So, as I said, just trying to take my red-tinted specs off and step back and say, okay, why would he choose City then? Right. Immediately competed for top trophies? Of course. City are in a title chase in the Champions League. Does he want to work with Pep? If he does, that could be a draw for him. Playing with some of the best in the world currently, obviously Haaland, etc., etc. More stable environment. I think it's fair to say that City is a more stable environment, although we don't know what's going on with Guardiola, but I imagine the succession plan they've got there is still a more stable environment than United right now. Is the project more appealing? I don't know. These are questions I can't answer. These are questions being proposed to Semenyo. More chance of playing in his favoured position, as I said. There's a chance he comes to United and plays left wing back to start with. I can't imagine that would be too appealing. Less media pressure and scrutiny is quite a big one, I suppose. If you aren't capable of sort of absorbing that pressure, then United isn't the place for you. It doesn't matter how good a footballer you are. You have to be able to deal with that. And that's kind of the situation where it is. United clearly want him. United, I would say, are probably confident of getting him. And so is City. What is going to be the determining factor for Semenyo? We'll find out when he makes his choice. Because if he wants to compete right now at the age he is and he feels the next few years are where I want to be competing for the Champions League, Premier League, then United can't compete with that and he goes to City. If he feels that he's ready to commit probably 18 months, 12 to 18 months to United and be potentially part of that team which brings United back to the top, and he wants that prestige and he wants that challenge because he knows that the end goal would be so much better than what anything City could offer him, then he might choose United. But we will find out because it's seemingly between these two clubs unless Liverpool come in because Spurs, he's not going Spurs. That's the full story. That's the update. Do you think we're going to sign Semenyo? Let me know.